Do you get stuck overthinking life? Maybe too much in the past, too much on the future? We're going to talk about it on today's podcast. Hi, my name is Michael Johnson. I'm a ballroom dance professional, a life coach, and a peak performance expert. I'm part of a group of motivated people who are dedicated to attaining emotional mastery and unlocking our full potential. We've realized life is a dance. The ups and downs can spin you out of your mind, but it's time to take back control. It's time to become a lifer. We don't believe others are responsible for how we feel. In fact, we don't believe anyone can make us feel anything. We are a new breed of overachievers. Emotional mastery is our journey, and unlocking our full potential is the key. Welcome to the journey. We are lifers, and this is Magic for Life. What's up, lifers? Michael Johnson here with the Magic for Life podcast. I'm so excited you joined me here today, and we are going to talk about that stuck feeling, that feeling of maybe overthinking life. You know the one where you get stuck in the same place, the same time, all the time, right? And you start overthinking either your past or your future, right? You get stuck thinking about, man, I shouldn't have done this. Maybe I shouldn't have gone this way. Maybe I should have chose something else. Maybe I should have made a different choice. I should have did this. I should have did that. I should, right? I think my mentor, Anthony Robbins, says, you should all over yourself, right? Let's stop the process of thinking about what you should have done. Okay, we're going to talk about that. But what about the future? I need to save for the future. I need to do this for the future. I need to do that for the future. Always something about what it's going to be in the future, right? Now, there is a balance. And we've got to figure out that balance. And that's part of what we're here for, right? We're partially here trying to figure out what that balance is of learning from our history and not getting stuck thinking about what is gonna happen or what you hope might happen. And the interesting thing about it is it's so easy to get stuck on one side or the other that you end up losing and missing out on the moments that are right now, the minutes that are going by. So let's talk about that. Listen, the past doesn't exist. It's already gone, and it actually doesn't exist anymore. The future hasn't happened, so, well, that's not anything that's real. So right now is the only thing that you actually have. And this is kind of heavy, right? And yet we've talked about it. We've heard about this idea over and over again. In fact, I love the quote from Kung Fu Panda. You can go look it up, right? That's why they call right now a gift, right? The present. Yeah. And that's a common idea. See, living every minute, and in case you didn't know, that was the name of my recent book that I just released. And you can get a copy. Just go to everyminutebook.com. Go check it out. Right? And every minute is the thing that's important. Now, how do we get to that space? We don't want to ignore our history. And the reason we don't want to ignore the history is because there's a huge element of our history that we have to learn from. And that's our growth, our need for growth and improvement. And that's why we have things like Walmart today. Right? I mean, I'm just using that to be silly, but truthfully, you can go to Walmart and get anything you want. Well, that's much better than going out with a bow and arrow and a spear trying to hunt down a jaguar, right? And you can get to Walmart, get your food, get home, be eating in no time at all, right? We learned from our past. We learned from our past failures. But so many times we are guilty. Are you? We are guilty of sticking in our past, and we start to believe we are our past. Now that's dangerous. That is dangerous. You are not your past, but you can learn from your past mistakes. In fact, this is a great reason to read biographies. You can read a lot and learn a lot from people's experiences that came before you. That is history. It doesn't exist. We don't even know if those stories are true, but we can at least learn from the stories, right? Those of you that have followed the podcast, you know I'm a big fan of Kobe Bryant, and I love I love the legacy this guy left behind. Right, great book. Go get it if you can find it anywhere. It's totally sold out. Great book, and there's so many things in there. And you know what? It's a book where he talks a lot about basketball. And the interesting thing about it is that as he talks about basketball through this book, the truth of the matter is he's talking to us about life. He's talking to us about his experience. But you know what? It's about life. He's telling us about history and his memory, his history of that experience, and hoping that we can learn something from it. This is huge. You've got to learn from your past, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't, but you are not your past. You are right now. And right now is the only thing that matters. Right now is the only thing you have. You don't have that anymore. It's gone. Doesn't exist anymore. And now what about the future? Well, we are taught to save. That's important, right? We've got to make sure we can sustain and self-preservation, right? So there's a certain amount of thinking about the future that we must do. But if you take and you spend all your time in the future, then you're actually missing out on the moment. And so you're kind of hoping that someday you're going to live this moment, but you're always going to be thinking of the future. This is a fine line to walk, because I understand there is serious value in planning and preparing, and we have to do that, right? But if you spend all your time planning and preparing and not actually experiencing right now, then you're going to miss out on all the great things in your world. And eventually you're going to look back at your history and go, I should have did this. I should have done that. I should have done this. Instead of sitting in that moment and missing out on the experience of the moment, I was so busy planning for the future that I missed out on what was happening. Now, I wonder if you've had that experience. Have you? Have you been on a vacation and you got home after the vacation and you were so busy planning what you were going to do each day of the vacation that you forgot to actually live in the moment of the vacation? That's a huge, huge deal. But if you don't plan the vacation, how are you going to get there? Right? And so there's this love-hate relationship with our history and our future and the moment. Living in the now is difficult. I call it every minute. Right? When I say goodbye, I go every minute. Right? Every minute. It's just a quick reminder. When I try to remember that the things that I'm doing are the most important, and yes, they will help me for the future, and I've got to learn from the past, but this minute is so important. This minute that I'm here with you is so important, because I know if I can get you to actually start to live in the moment, in the minute, that life is so beautiful. There's so much for you to experience. There's so much for you to actually take in and live. So we've got to start to create a balance. We want to take moments to grow. We want to take moments to plan and organize. And as we can automate these systems in our life, we can start to design our life in such a way that we don't miss out on the moment, but we actually still plan for ahead and learn from behind. We have to take moments every day to plan this out. Right? And so you have to look at your day and start to figure out what's going to work for you. See, you're watching this video right now and I appreciate it. Or maybe you're listening to me on a podcast and I appreciate you being here. And hopefully in this moment, you're actually taking in and thinking about, yeah, how can I do this? How can I live every minute? And part of it is that you love to think about what you will create in the future to sustain every minute, and what you have learned from the past to make better choices and decisions for this minute. But you aren't your past. You aren't broken. There's nothing wrong with you. In fact, if you learn from your history, you can actually make a new choice. And that is one of the things that some of the lifers in our tribe have done the best, and I'm the most proud of, is that they start to realize they're not broken. They can learn from their past. They can make new decisions, and they can become what they want to be right now. You see, many of you know I have a history of being a dancer, a professional ballroom dancer. And in those moments, one of my favorite things is that every time we reach out and grab hands to dance, it is new. It has never been done before. And we can try as hard as we want to try to make it the same dance we've done before, but it will never be. And we can try as hard as we want to be as good as we will be someday, but we can only be what we are right now. And living in that moment, getting into that zone of that moment, that is one of the greatest experiences. And you can do it. It doesn't have to be dance. It could be business. It could be building that marketing campaign. It could be getting that piece of information out to the world that will impact the world. It could be changing that one child's life that you're teaching, that you're influencing to understand that they aren't broken. There's nothing wrong with them. They just have skills now and education and things that they've learned from in the past that will change their life forever. So to you watching this video, let me remind you something that's near and dear to my heart. Every minute. I wish you the best. I'll see you on the next podcast. Take care.
Want more magic for life? If so, then reserve your copy of my new book. Get your copy at everyminutebook.com. Inside this book, you'll find the secrets to attaining the next level of performance in anything you do. Learn the secrets behind emotional mastery that'll start you on your new journey of being a lifer. Whether you're an athlete, a business professional, or an artist, this book will change your life forever. Get your copy reserved today.